So you want to get into golf making, club repair, building, etc. But you need a list. You don't know where to start. What are the tools that you absolutely need to get your business started, up and running as quickly as possible for the least amount of money as possible? This video is for you.
Be the right club today. Yes!
What's going on, guys? G2 here with 3-Putt Bogey, and this is a video that I have been wanting to put together for a while because I get a lot of questions about what's it take to start up, how much does it cost, what's the lowest I can get in and still get the basic stuff done. So I'm going to start with this. When you're getting started, there's really only two things that you need to get yourself set up for, maybe a third, and that is regripping and reshafting. Club building kind of comes with the rest of those, so if you get those two under control, the club building kind of falls into it. So when you're thinking about these materials, and we're going to go through this list, think about what do I need to start up regripping and reshafting. That's where you start. And as you continue to grow and bring in revenue, then you can build on, more expensive equipment like loft and lie machines, bending machines, frequency machines, all that kind of stuff. To just get started and to start getting some money in your pocket, you don't need all of that stuff. The other thing that I will tell you, the way I started out, is don't buy grips. Don't buy ferrules. Get them as you need them. What I like to do, honestly, my setup, I have grips that I have extra ones for people who are in a pinch, but if someone's coming to me for regripping, I tell them, bring me your grips. And you only charge them for the installation. It's going to save you a ton of overhead. You're never going to have that person who cancels and now you've got 13 grips just sitting there doing nothing. Let them bring you their own grips. Basically, what you're charging for in the beginning is labor. As you continue to grow, you will accumulate grips and shafts and ferrules and things of that nature. So start off small and work into something that's a little bit larger scale. So before we get to the list, if you are new to the channel, welcome. If you are a loyal subscriber, welcome back. We love doing videos like this. This was actually one of your requests, which is why it's being done. If you see anything on this list, or maybe I left something out, and you think it's something that should be noteworthy, please leave it in the comments, because it's only going to help me for future reference, and also anyone else who's watching this who's thinking about getting a small business set up. And that's why we just love the input that you guys bring. So let's get on to the list. So one of the things that you're going to need is a way to measure golf clubs when they are finished. This will help you if someone brings you a club and you need to match that length of club, or whether you're building a set and you need to make sure that the lengths are correct. So this is the one that I use. It's a little pricey. This is probably one of the most expensive things on this list for what it is and what it does. But the reason I like this is because you can use any yardstick. I have a cheap one that I'm going to show here in a second. It slides right underneath the bottom. And also it doesn't take a lot of space up. This thing all in all is probably maybe 8 inches by 8 inches square. It's a very, very minimal footprint for your bench. It screws in there, and honestly, this is the most accurate that I've used in terms of not having an entire unit that will take up a lot of space. A heat gun. So this is going to be used for loosening heads off of clubs, as well as loosening grip tape once you've removed grips. This is the easiest and fastest way to loosen up that adhesive to get the grip tape off of your grip. In lines with the heat gun, we have a torch. Sometimes you need just a little bit more oomph and heat, especially when you are removing stubborn heads from irons or drivers, putters, etc. If you don't have one of these, you probably do. So this is one of the cheapest ones that I found on Amazon. Grab yourself a spare butane. Whether it's butane or propane, you can go to Lowe's and get a benzomatic propane torch. That will work just as fine, but you definitely are going to need this for shaft removal. Some kind of workbench. So when it comes to tools, I prefer to go to somewhere like Harbor Freight. Okay, these tools are great. You're not going to be using them all the time, But for what you're doing and getting started at a low price point, some of the stuff that you're going to get at Harbor Freight, I mean, I have stuff that's lasted 8 years. So I can't say this is a one and done kind of stuff. Their stuff is, I've got tools that are 8 years old, minimum, at least. So for a workbench, now they have a variety of workbench options here that you can see. I started out with that 48-inch workbench with the light for $120, and I ended up taking that back and light off because it just ended up getting in the way. But that is a very good option that you could go to. The hardwood workbench is also a good option. You want something sturdy and stable because you don't want it to shift around when you're doing stuff. One of the things that I absolutely love is this option right here. So at your big box store, maybe even at a Walmart, you're going to see these 5-tier heavy-duty racks. And the reason I like these is because you can set them up like this. And this is how I have mine set up. Just like this. And you can see on the top you have those little kind of metal parts that stick out. All you do is you get yourself an inch thick or 3/4 inch thick MDF, plywood, whatever it is you want, and lay it over the top. You can get it to inset in there actually pretty nicely. And then you have a solid top, solid frame. You can make like 3 or 4 of these. You can do them in an L shape, straight along a wall, whatever it is. I think it's very convenient if you want to customize your space. I like to have like a regripping station, and then a shaft prep station and an assembly station. And this allows you to keep not only those sections separate, but to keep the tools that you need under that section so you're not moving back and forth. You're going to have some kind of vise. Whether you have one, great, you're already ahead of the game. This one's fairly cheap at Harbor Freight. It also has an anvil on there. And the reason I like the anvil is if you decide down the line to kind of tinker maybe and wedge stamping, you can use that anvil as a starter anvil for your stamping. And then when you get better with it, you can get a regular anvil or a electromagnetic anvil or something that will stick that on there. But it's a good way to start. So when working with epoxy, solvents, etc., it's always good to have some nitrile gloves. It's kind of a standard. You're going to use them a lot. Staying on the theme of gloves, a nice leather work glove, especially when you're working with hot stuff. You're doing buffing, you're doing heating, sanding, whatever it is. These are really great to have. A belt sander. Now you can get this at Lowe's, right? And it'll be double the price. But a 1x30 belt sander is more than enough than what you're going to need in terms of shaft preparation, as well as ferrule turning, because you just change the belts out. You can get a linen belt. You can have the more abrasive belt for the shaft prep, for cleaning off epoxy that's on there, whatever it is. I've got mine from Harbor Freight. It's 8 years old and it's still running great. I've never had any issue with power in terms of these, and it also has a vacuum port, so if you don't like dust, you can stick a shop vac on that to kind of pull all the dust out of that. In line with kind of a tool here at Harbor Freight, a bench grinder. This is more for polishing than it is grinding. You would replace those grinding stones with polishing belts. So you're basically going to use this as a polishing wheel. But if you need to switch into, let's say, like an abrasive wheel or something along those lines, you have the ability to do that as well. Now, going into the GolfWorks website, if you can find some of this stuff cheaper, I'll let you know which ones to look at. Some of these were hard for me to find. This was one of them. A 6-inch chop saw. They've got them on Amazon. The reviews are not good, so I would probably steer away from that. This is for your shaft cutting. So if you need to chip a shaft or you need to cut the length of a shaft, this is what you want to be using. It is not necessary. You could always use a hacksaw if you need to save some cash, or one of those pipe cutting tools, the manual ones that you twist around. They will also work. If you want to be a little bit more efficient in terms of speed, you would definitely want to go with the chop saw. For regripping and installation and things like that, a shaft clamp. Yeah, you can use the one that goes into the vise, and I think if you're really, really trying to pinch pennies, that's probably going to be your best option. Also remember, if you're doing this for a business, time is money and speed is money. So this shaft clamp is the cheapest one they have. They go all the way up to $500, $600. This just drills right onto the top of your bench there, and you just clip it on and clip it off. I use it all the time, and it allows you to set up a regripping station and not always be moving that vise around. This is 100%, you need to get this, and at $22 it really is a no-brainer. So what this does is you set this tray, basically you have your clamp, right, and the shaft and the grip goes over this tray while you're regripping. And what it does is it catches all of the solvent that you're putting on the grip, that you're putting on the shaft or on the tape, and it goes through the little hole in the end. You basically clip this to the end of your bench, and it kind of hangs off, but you can also take it off. It just kind of unhooks off of it, and you can store it underneath out of the way when you're not doing regrips. And all of that goes through the tube into a reservoir of your choice. The wonderful thing about grip solvent is it is 100% reusable. So the people that don't do this, you are wasting so much money in grip solvent. I have solvent that is 5 years old, still in the can, that I haven't used because I have been recycling solvent. And it is just an absolute game changer in terms of cost. Wire cleaning brush. Another one of those things that you may want to get into early, but when you save a grip, there is 9 times out of 10 going to be tape still in that grip. And this thing just basically goes in there and you put in solvent and you're going to scrub it out to try to get that grip as clean as you can if you are to reinstall it. If you are just going to be doing clean, down and dirty, new grip onlys, then you don't need to worry about this. Utility knife with hook blades. Everyone probably has a utility knife. So if in the case you have a utility knife, you're going to need to get a hook blade. A hook blade allows you to cut that grip off of the club without damaging the shaft underneath. If you use a straight blade, especially on graphite, you will cut through that grip and you will start to cut into the graphite shaft. The hook blade protects that and allows you to keep a clean cut without damaging the shaft. Golf tape stripper remover. This 100%, if you're going to be doing regrips, you want to have. So you use the heat gun. Once you've taken the grip off, that tape is still going to be on the shaft. More times than not, it's going to be there. Use your heat gun to heat up the residual grip tape that's left on, and use this. It has a curved blade on it, and you just run that down the shaft and it will scrape off all of that tape. Use the heat gun to warm it up, use this to scrape it off, and then you just clean it up with a little solvent afterwards, and that shaft will look like brand new, and it's ready for its new tape and its new grip. If you don't have this, you're going to be heating it up and peeling it off with your fingers, and hot tape is not fun to deal with. Club ruler. This is the one that I have, and I use it in combination with that first piece, that Mitchell's piece that I was telling you about, and it basically slides right under there and you get accurate measurements of the length of your golf club. The other thing that this is very, very useful for is it has all of the details and specifications for standard installations. It will tell you what is the length for a man's steel shafted club for every club, or graphite, or women's, or juniors. It has all of that information on the bottom of the measuring ruler. I don't know why they cut it off, because it's probably one of the best benefits. So you have a cheat sheet on both sides of this ruler that gives you a lot of information that saves you a lot of time when it comes to installation and basically standard measurements. Cleaning bits, you can get these on Amazon. You're going to need wire ones to clean out hosels once you've taken them off of shaft, or you're doing regrips. Basically, they go right into your power drill. I'm assuming everyone here has a power drill, so we're not going to put that in the list. But you definitely want to grab a couple of these. This shaft ID gauge, probably one that you're going to want to get, because it will give you if you're ever wondering, okay, I just took this shaft off of a club, or maybe you have a customer in front of you and they bring you a club and they want to get it reshafted. You need to know right then and there, okay, if I'm going to give this guy a right quote, Am I doing a 355, a 370, a 335, a 350, whatever it is? This allows you to measure the diameter of that shaft right when it's still installed in the club. It also helps you identify, let's say you're going to eventually start to accumulate shafts that will not be labeled. And this has identification metrics and measurements on here that will allow you to identify who the maker is of the shaft, what kind of shaft it is, what is the tip size of the shaft, etc., etc. Handheld ferrule installer. This may seem silly. It's only $5. It is totally worth it. Ferrules can be a little bit of a pain in the butt to put on when you are reshafting clubs. So this gets it started. You push the ferrule on, and it's not going to go all the way onto the tip of the shaft. This thing you put on the end, and you push the ferrule down, and it seats it about a ½ an inch onto the club. Then you can use the head of the club and bang it down a little bit more to get it seated in the right place. But this is good for getting it started, and it saves you a lot of time, and it also avoids damaging the large end of the ferrule that is going to seat up against the club hosel, because it gets even pressure all the way down while you're seating it onto the shaft. These abrasive sanding sleeves, 100%. You probably can find these on Amazon too. They go onto your drill bit. You use these to clean out inside of the hosel of the club once you've taken epoxy out. I usually do this first, and then I go to wire wheel to kind of get all those little things off at the end. This is good for those really, really gunky ones. It's $8.99. You're mostly paying for the spindle here. Those little the sanding pieces you can find on Amazon, like 100 of them for $5 or things like something like that, and they will work fine. Swing weight scale. One of the more expensive pieces, but if you're going to get into swing weighting and assembling clubs, especially if you're going to get into assembling clubs, you need to swing weight them. That is one of the things that makes the difference between a hobbyist in terms of golf club building and someone who is more meticulous and thorough and more of a professional. Slapping together a golf club without doing swing weight is honestly just, you're not going to put out the best product. I mean, you may get lucky and it feels good, but they may not like it, and they may not realize that it's because it wasn't swing weighted, and they're going to think that you just weren't a good club maker. So this, you're going to get a ton of use out of it when you're checking clubs before you take them apart, when you're putting them together. This is 100% necessary, I think, in any beginner startup. Bite the bullet for the $100 and get yourself a swing weight scale. This is one of the basic ones. They have digitals. They have a cheaper one. I would stay away from that one. It's $69. For the $30 more, get this one. This is the exact same model that I have. Mine is 20 years old, and it is still perfect. Graphite shaft extractor. Okay. Yeah, it's $230. There is really no way to remove graphite shafts from a golf club safely without using this machine. This is one of the more, I won't say one of the more expensive. This is kind of the lower model. There is a very, very economy model underneath of this, which I would not suggest. You use it in your vise, and honestly, I've never really seen them work right. This one, you're getting a lot in here. So you are getting, obviously, the shaft extractor. It's not only for graphite, you can use it for steel as well. You're getting the broken shaft extractor, which is that little T thing with the screw on it. Basically, when the shaft breaks off, the big unit is not usable because there's no shaft for it to hold on to. So you will screw that T into the club head, put it into the extractor machine, and do it as normal. It also is going to give you those 5 set screws that you can use to remove adapters from your adjustable clubs. So if the shaft has an adjustable adapter on it for the head, you can take that off too using those. So it's a lot on there. I know it's $230. This is another one that if you're going to do this, you're going to have to get into one of these. This is the best place to start. And honestly, the one that I've had for over 15 years and it still works perfectly fine. So this is something that will last as long as you need it to last. Aluminum hosel protector. Now the shaft extractor will come with basically a protective metal piece that goes between the pushing tool and the hosel of the golf club. You don't want it pushing directly on the hosel because you could damage it. This is just another piece that you can use. I like this one because it allows you to do 335, 370, and 355 taper tip all in one piece. And it just one of those things that you just do and use, and you're going to use every single time you extract a club to help protect either your or your customers' club heads when you are extracting shafts. Mixing cups, get them on Amazon, get them here. Doesn't matter which ones you do. This is what you use to mix your epoxy in when you are putting your clubs together. Grip tape. So there are a lot of different options out there for grip tape. Now when it comes to grip tape and solvent, I can tell you there are only two kinds that I get. I have tried a lot of different options, and when it comes to performance, the ones that I show you are going to be the best. This Golfworks Industry grip tape is the best grip tape that you will get. You are going to want to get a 1 inch, which is the one on the bottom, if you want to do kind of a spiral wrap. And then you're going to have the 2 inch. Your 2 inch is your normal standard grip tape that you're going to use for all of your regrippings. The 1 inch is you're going to use maybe every once in a while. Stay away from the individual strips. What you're going to pay for the individual strips is going to be so much more. Just get the big roll. So for that one, you're going to want a 2 inch. Go for the 36-yard roll. You're really only saving, I think, $4 in the long run. So you're going to get more for less if you just go with the bigger roll. This is the grip tape that you're going to need to use. Now, if you want to get build-up tape on top of this, so let's say you want to go 2 wraps, 3 wraps, 4 wraps, you don't use this when you do that. You use a special build-up tape, but Golfworks also sells the build-up tape. It's about the same price. Squeeze solvent bottle. The reason we're getting this, remember, you are going to be using that drip tray, right? So all of your solvent is going to go into another container that you can use to refill this as you need. So it's $1.29. Get a couple of them, and you can use them, you know, for whatever it is. These are so much easier to use. I don't like the sprays because you're making it aerosol. Aerosol leads to evaporation, and you're just wasting product. This is the best way to apply inside the grip and onto the tape when it's on the shaft when you're going for a grip installation. Okay, grip solvent. This Brampton HF100 is the best golf solvent on the planet. Don't get fooled with Wedgeworks or Wedge Guys, whatever that stuff is. It's cheap, yeah, but it is not good. Where this is important, when you are doing a grip installation, if you have junk solvent, you are going to be able to get that grip on halfway, especially if you're dealing with super stroke grips and you're installing them into a putter. I mean, it's even happened to me on just regular iron and driver grips. Gets on halfway and then it seizes up and you are screwed, and you're probably going to even end up throwing away the grip and redoing it. This stuff stays lubricated and does not evaporate as quicker as the cheaper stuff. And that is important because it gives you working time to straighten out and center your grips once you've installed them. I would suggest going with the gallon bottle. It's $28, and that gallon bottle, I promise you, will last you 2 to 3 years if you use the drip tray. When we get into epoxy, epoxy is another one. I will only use Golfworks epoxy. This is, in my opinion, some of the best epoxy that I have ever used. Whether it is the high strength, the quick set, the tour set, whatever it is, I prefer high strength because a lot of the repairs that I'm doing are not needed next day. If it's next day, then you would do like a tour set or a quick set. These take 24 hours to fully cure. Just set them up on your drying rack or your drying station, whatever it is, and just let them do their thing. I've never had a bad batch of epoxy come out when I'm using these. So I have the 32-ounce bottles. I still probably have half of it left, and I got those bottles 3 years ago. So epoxy doesn't go bad as long as you keep it closed and sealed. If you're going to just start off small, maybe go to like a 16-ounce bottle, and you just pour this right into those measuring cups, equal parts. The measuring cups have measurements, so you can know exactly how much you're putting into the measuring cup from each part of the activator or the hardening agent, whatever it is. I can personally vouch for the quality and the consistency in terms of this epoxy's performance. And the last thing on the list are glass shafting beads. One of these will last your entire life. You won't need to get this ever again. And this is just part of that shaft installation process that ensures you are putting together the best quality product for yourself or your customers or your friends. Remember, glass shafting beads help center the shaft inside of the hosel. They also, to a point, create strength within the epoxy, but that is not their purpose. It's kind of a happy little side note. They are designed to ensure that that shaft is sitting perfectly concentric inside of the hosel, and it's not touching any part of the wall of the hosel, which could lead, especially in graphite shafts, to breaks and fractures and eventually catastrophic failures with heads flying off of golf shafts. So I know that was a lot to go on, but it's not cheap. You can make it cheap in the beginning, and then, like I said, as you build money and revenue, you get into more expensive and intricate tools and materials and things like that nature. But this is what you need for basic bare bones startup. And it's probably going to cost you, I want to say, somewhere in the neighborhood of $800 to maybe $1,000 if you get everything on that list. Don't forget about advertising, okay? Business Facebook page. Go to your local pro shop or golf course. Ask if they have someone that does club repair. If they don't, have some business cards made. You can get them really cheap now. Give them to the business and say, hey, if you refer someone to me, let them know that you referred them. I will give you a kickback, 5%, 10%, whatever it is that you want to do. And this will allow you to build your business and build your brand within your community. There are a lot of opportunities out there, especially for club making. If you are in an area like I'm in South Carolina where golf is happening year round, the opportunities are endless. So like I said earlier, if there's anything that I forgot, please leave it in the comments so everyone can refer back to it. This is a really great skill to have. It's one of those skills that will last you your entire life, right? Whether you're 20 or whether you're 80, you can do this. You're going to learn a lot. There's a lot of resources out there on the internet, manuals, literal courses and trainings that you can take, as well as videos that we have here that will help you kind of perfect that club building task and technique and just make you a better club builder overall. If you're just doing this for yourself to make your own clubs or, for your friends or whatever, that's totally fine. It's a great hobby to have, but you can totally make this a business and get a little extra money in your pocket. And you're probably going to enjoy it if you're like me and you like to tinker around with things and DIY and all that stuff. Great little skill set to have. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, if there's anything I missed, please leave them in the comments. And until next time, make sure that you swing as hard as you can, just in case you hit the ball. G2 out.